So the accusation is that female cyclists are, quote, exploiting their breast size. Officially underway, additional clothing checks that are going to be taking place at the Women's Tour de France.
You can't change the shape of your natural body. Women are going to be checked before they get on their bikes. Hey there, folks. Turns out it is an advantage in life to have bigger breasts. And with that, welcome to the episode. TJ, this is Robes over here, and let me immediately get on record. That is not a statement of my opinion. I'm getting this, Robes, from women themselves.
Well, from the International Cycling Union, actually. Who knew? I learned something significant today, that apparently, yes, you said bigger boobs, but even padded bras apparently have more advantages than we realize. They don't just make you look better or sexier. Mm-hmm. No, they make you faster. They give you an aerodynamic edge or advantage. When you have a padded bra or bigger boobs, say what? I would have thought that would have been a disadvantage.
This is a pretty significant story that goes in line with some stuff we see in the Olympics sometimes with these controversies about cheating. And this one has to do with women's breasts.
Yes. So this is the week that the Women's Tour de France, they're in the middle of the Tour de France, basically. And there are allegations, there are some complaints out there that some women may have been using extra padding in their bras for that aforementioned aerodynamic advantage. And so there are now officially underway additional clothing checks that are going to be taking place at the Women's Tour de France because the use of padded bras, this is what I didn't know, is prohibited in the Tour de France and other cycling events. This is by the ICU, the International Cycling Union. This is under the regulations because yes, it has been scientifically proven that having a rounder chest, we can get into it, creates an advanced aerodynamic situation for said riders. So now race organizers are actually creating inspection tents for women, and they're ordering that women get to their starting lines 10 minutes ahead of time so they can do these additional inspections looking for padding in sports bras.
Okay, when you hear this, first of all, I think about it as rules are rules, and every millisecond counts. We know this is international competition. But Rose, hearing this first as a woman, like, what are you supposed to do? They're literally going to come around and somebody's going to touch or check the inside. Will they check it before you get dressed? Do they have to watch you get dressed? How does this go?
No.
And is somebody literally going to come around and put their hands on?
There have been questions. They are asking those questions right now.
Okay.
Just how much of this is an invasion of privacy, and how much of this is making sure that everyone's following the rules. There's a fine line, and I frankly don't know where it is because look, there are other people. Look, I have issues where I always have a slight padding in my sports bra, in my regular bra, whatever, because I have issues related to having a double mastectomy, that I like the support and just certain things. And different women use sports bras for, lift, support, control. And the bigger your boobs, the more needs you have. And the smaller your boobs, you have other needs too. It slips. There are all sorts of issues. And every woman comes in different shapes and different sizes, have different medical histories. So I just feel like this is going to be tricky.
Yeah, but how do you make the determination? How much padding is too much padding? You have to have a rule. You have to say, well, it can only be this inches thick, right? You got to say something. It can't be just subjective to one.
And therein lies the question. Where is the line? I don't know that it's been established. Here's what the official statement is. I'll read it to you. It's seems very legal, but this is what was released. I believe this was late Monday night after leg 3 of the Tour de France for women. Riders must be to the final checks before the race in their bikes and outfit no later than 10 minutes before their respective start time. Particular attention will be paid to compliance with Article 1.3032 of the UCI regulations, including non-essential elements and clothing or other items / accessories worn by a rider which could modify rider's morphology.
Okay. And again, this isn't, from what I understood, Rob, this isn't a situation where they think someone has a bra or something on and is putting stuff in it. They're buying or purchasing already ahead of time things that, I mean,
The
you know
accusation is all of the above, I believe. So faking a larger cup size by using padding in their bras to make it look like they have bigger boobs.
Okay.
So the accusation is that female cyclists are, quote, exploiting their breast size.
Accentuating what they already have.
To create a better aerodynamic situation for them. And so, how are you going to prove that these aren't my boobs?
Wow, how do you do this?
I don't know, but it's called chest
pen.
fairing.
Yes.
There's actually a term for it, or bra doping. Those two things,
fun.
they're called chest fairing or bra doping, and this is a thing.
Are they calling this Bragate yet, by chance?
No, but I just saw bra doping accusations, which made me... that was what initially made me click. I was like, what is bra doping?
Okay, I'm going to get back to the chest fairing. I want to ask you, though, because you have more, obviously, experience than I do with padded bras. Mm-hmm. Is it possible, for example, can you buy a bra so padded that it would fool people around you into thinking you have bigger breasts than you do?
Have you been in Victoria's Secret?
But that's push-up stuff versus padding,
yes, but
isn't
it still has a thickness
Does
to it, and it pushes up, yes, but it's got some thickness to it, and absolutely there's padded bras, there's built-in padding. Sports bras, you've heard me complain about it all the time. They have the inserts, right? They have like a... And they always get dislodged and folded over and crumpled and get lost in the wash. I have to go find them, put them back,
They're in my sock drawer,
out.
by the way. They're all over the place. They're all over the house.
You see the little inserts that go into a lot of sports bras. A lot of it is, this is just the truth. You don't want your nipples... you don't want to have headlights, basically. Mm-hmm. There's chafing issues, so that if you've got some padding, there's less chance of chafing for nipples. Like, there are all sorts of actual reasons why women might want to have a slight lining or padding when they're wearing a sports bra.
Okay, one other thing here. So it's you can take the padding out, put in different padding.
In some of them you can. Like, I have a bra on right now that just has a built-in kind of, like a built-in padding, so to speak.
And I'm trying to make this my last question. I'm really a point of curiosity and understanding this story. Can a woman have on a bra that is your size, that fits you for your cup size, but you fill the padding in such a way that that's the problem? See, I have it in my mind that someone's putting on a bra that's too big or something like that. That's not necessarily
Well, it could be that too. All of the above is
Mm-hmm.
possible, but it's a way to basically cheat. Yes. So rounder chests are an advantage. Didn't know that.
The chest fairing thing.
I'm used to running, where like you want the smallest boobs possible when you're running. Those puppies will get in your way and slow you down, and that's where my brain went. So the idea that something athletic, it would be an advantage to have bigger boobs, but it reduces aerodynamic drag. The way it's been explained is it reduces the airflow around the body, and therefore reduces overpressure on the thighs, and as a result, the rider experiences less air resistance and can go faster. And research shows that if you can reduce it with a slightly rounder chest, you can actually have a reduction of air resistance of up to 3.6%. And every percentage point counts. So they say in a ride of 12 to 18 miles per day, like they're doing in the Tour de France, it can give you actually seconds of advantage, which over a period of several days that these riders are riding, that actually could be the difference between first place and second place and third place.
Robes, it's huge.
Absolutely.
It's a quarter of a second. Let's just go with that. But Robes, over 20 miles, you're up to 4 or 5 seconds above where your opponent is. Yes, that adds up. And how many days does the Tour de France go? I don't even know. But it's a lot of days being out there. Robes, you have this advantage over time.
Exactly.
It makes a difference. You're not putting as much weight or pressure or exertion on your legs over all those days as well. It makes a difference. This is a thing they've been looking at in men for a long time and focused on, because men have what? We have flatter chests. So men are looking, it's that simple. It's why a submarine has a rounded edge in the front, right?
I had never thought about
that. If it was flat, obviously the aerodynamics are off. What you're talking about, Robes, is giving yourself more headlights,
like a bullet.
Yes, and the air now can make its way around instead of just running into a
That
flat.
makes so
It
much
makes sense.
Look, they said men, it's pretty easy, obviously, to see when men are doing, but they've
Yes.
stuck water bottles. There are all sorts of little tricks that men have employed over the years.
We
but
got caught every
it's
time. I'm
kind
sure.
of obvious. Women haven't built. Look, I remember, I'm thinking back to when I was trying to get into Sanford Stadium at University of Georgia with a little bit of Jim Beam. Where did we put little baggies of Jim Beam because alcohol was banned? In our bras. Who's going to feel
Nobody's
up
gonna touch
my
that.
bra? And
Nobody
then I
touch
can pull out the liquid and pour it into some Diet Coke, and voila, you've got alcohol. Now they've got much more sophisticated ways of sneaking in alcohol, but we used to use our boobs.
We also, sweetheart, they serve plenty of alcohol in that stadium now.
But back in the day, they did not,
Yes.
and so we had to sneak it in. So where there was a will,
yeah.
there was a way. But I guess I'm
your
just
point.
thinking, look, women can sneak a lot of things. I've seen people pull out wallets. I mean, you don't
That was
have
old
anywhere to
school.
put something, stick them right here. So yes, but now they are putting up these tents to inspect women at the Tour de France starting now. That's how bad things have gotten. Complaints flying, people accusing people of cheating. And by the way, that was the women who were competing right now. Just a couple of days ago, the men were competing in the Tour de France, and they had their own little scandal. Who knew? We'll tell you after the break. Ice socks were banned. All right, so the men just wrapped up the Tour de France for the summer on the 26th, and men were being forced to remove ice socks that they stuffed into their skin suits. Do you even know what these ice socks were? I had to look the whole thing up. Didn't even know this was a thing either.
That they were using. No, I've never had to use and
So-
have no reason to use. But again, it's fascinating how they find these advantages. All about, yes, something in the socks helps you aerodynamically.
Yeah, so
Yes.
these are pairs of tights that are cut down. They put literally ice cubes in them. They tie them off, and they usually put them into the back of their skin suits behind their necks, right? To cool themselves down. But it actually does, in addition to cooling them down, create a different shape. And so they, the organizers say it is the same argument as the padded bras. It changes the morphology
Yes.
of a rider's shape enough to create an advantage. And because of that, and it was so hot in Europe, seen all the headlines this summer of the unbelievable heat in Europe. So yes, they were trying to use them to cool down, but also there was that little thing called advantage.
Yeah, Rose, the basic rule, and it makes sense and it should be there, you can't change the shape of your natural body to get an advantage. Now, you can wear this certain suit that's legal, you can wear the right aerodynamic helmet, all this stuff. And Rose, we've seen it plenty with, it's why you're watching, what did we just see, when we saw the winter game, the speed skating. Rose, they look like bullets out there with what they're wearing and how the hats are designed and the suits they're wearing, skin tight. Think about the summer games. What's Ian Thorpe? You remember the Thorpe, Australian
the
swimmer?
Torpedo.
Yes, and they wanted him to change because he was dominating and he was wearing a full body suit. They're like, what advantage does he have? What is he doing? And he's also built a certain way to have, swimmers have bodies that look a certain way because they're aerodynamic. This is all we're talking about. We're just not used to seeing, we don't pay as much attention as closely to cycling. But Robes, to hear that women are going to be checked before they get on their bikes to make sure their breasts and their padding is right in their chest, it makes you go, what the hell? But even after you get past the idea, Robes, and you're maybe a little chuckled, you go, oh shit, this is a serious, on the level of anti-doping for an
Yes.
international body and an event this big of a deal.
Thus, it's being called bra doping.
Bra
And you
doping.
asked how many days. This the Women's Tour de France goes through 9 days of competition. There are 9 stages, and they just now have cracked down on this midway through. So stage 4 and on. So who knows if people will complain, hey, if you had done
Here we
this from
go.
the beginning,
There
we
we
might
go.
have a different outcome. But they're
That's
going
too
from
bad.
Switzerland to France, and a total of 730 miles. So that adds up. If you can get a second every
Isn't that
couple
crazy?
of miles in your to your advantage, if you're wearing a padded bra or you're pretending your boobs are bigger than they actually are, that does make a big difference. So the final stage is August 9th this year. So perhaps whatever may have been occurring is going to be corrected now. But I still am trying to imagine what's happening in those tents and how they're confirming that none of these women competing have done anything to pad their bras or to create the illusion of bigger boobs.
You know, who's going to be more pissed, right? The ones who possibly were doing this as an advantage, or the ones who have never, ever thought about, considered something like this, and now I got to stand here and be frisked by somebody? I'm not cheating. Go over there and right? I don't know how. Maybe the people who were complaining are happy now. Okay, at least they checked and we know it's fair. Maybe that's, and maybe all of them want it to be fair, but it just seems like a hell of a violation. And they're doing it on the fly.
Yeah,
why weren't we checking ahead of time? And why didn't they get a heads up before the Tour de France? This will be the policy. This is how it's going to be handled. Now, in the middle of it, you're like, hey, everybody, show me your bra.
And I think that's the problem because, look, again, when it comes to men, it's pretty obvious. Either you have something or you don't. The eye socks or not. With a woman, look, it's complicated. We all have different sizes. We have all different kinds of sports bras. Do they have a certain sports bra that cannot be used? We've seen this evolve in swimming. You mentioned swimming in the Olympics. Certain suits are no longer used. Even in running and races, certain shoes aren't allowed because they're expensive and they're not accessible to everyone. Obviously, the whole goal is to level the playing field so that everyone's operating under the same rules, with the same equipment, with the same types of advantages. But it's impossible to fully police it. This one just seems exceptionally difficult and complicated to try and police. And I don't know, maybe because I'm not in the cycling world, I've just never heard of this before in my life. You didn't seem as surprised as I did.
Obviously I'm shocked that they're doing this. They're going to start checking women's chests on the way out. I'm sure there'll be a lot of dudes applying for that job.
I'm pretty sure they said they wanted a female inspector.
It has to be.
Can you imagine?
It has to
Obviously,
be.
the TSA, we see this happen when you get pulled aside. They have same-sex folks checking you out. They cannot have a different. Now, can women frisk men? No, it's men frisking men, women frisking women.
I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
I was trying to remember the last time you got frisked, but
it's been a lot of uncomfortable moments. But it's always they always ask if you want to do it out here in public is fine. You want to do it in private? I said no. I want everybody to see what you're doing to me.
And these are taking place in private tents that are set up there
but are you
at
with,
the start line.
but are you in the room with a group of other women? Are you one-on-one with the inspector? Jeez, criminy.
There are so many questions, and the fact that this hasn't necessarily been set up, like you said, ahead of time, or we haven't necessarily seen this up until now, although the rules have always been the rules, I think this specific instance is taking place because people have complained. I don't know what they saw, what they think they saw, if rumors started flying that so-and-so is doing this. There were no specific names. There were no specific athletes that were singled out. But it was just this notion that several women may be accentuating their cup size for an aerodynamic advantage.
You know, the surefire way to do it, just give me some before and after pictures. Just put them up. Everybody has to take a picture before the race.
I have a question. This is crazy. But since you seem to know more about the aerodynamics of it all than I do, if you were to go get a boob job, would that be against the rules? Like, what if I went and decided to get a boob job and became a double D and then continued in my cycling career?
But what about the suggestion also? I thought about that to that same point. I thought about this. Some women are naturally have larger chests. Are they going to argue that they shouldn't be competing in the same because that woman has an advantage? No, I don't think we can get there. But robes. What if an elite cyclist decides, you know what, that's going to give me an advantage, and I'm going to go do it? Can she be prevented from doing so?
No. How could you tell someone what they can and cannot do with their body? And medical records obviously are private. So you could go and get a boob job and no one would know. And you could just say, hey, I wanted to look better in my bikini. And the added benefit is I might shave off a few seconds on my Tour de France time.
Gross. I hope that doesn't become a thing.
That would be really sad if that was the case.
Be a thing already for all we know.
I'm sure we're not giving anyone any ideas that they didn't already think of.
I just, the part, I don't know. I don't know. Rules are rules. cycling has had a long history of cheating and doping.
Lance
severe.
Armstrong?
Bro, they have issues. This is one, but it is fascinating to me, and I am so intrigued by it. And you and I have been to a bunch of Olympics and been around a bunch of Olympic athletes. The things they'll do to get a fraction of any advantage on time. Bro, if you tell them, if I get a haircut that's a little shorter, I'll be faster. They'll do it. They'll do anything.
Think about it. Swimmers shave their whole bodies. You talk about being around folks who are boxers and professional boxing matches, what they'll do to lose an ounce of weight.
Man, I have seen some wild stuff, Robes, but what they put themselves through to get an advantage. It just, these are athletes, we watch them on TV. Again, you and I have had a unique perspective. But Robes, the margins are so close, it's so tight, that sometimes you look and go, wow, they throw everything away just to try to do that. It's because, babe, they're desperate for any advantage. And now we're talking about a woman's decision to wear a particular bra. Bra-gate, or what did you call it?
It's called bra doping.
Bra doping.
You don't want to be bra doping. And it's true, like when you think about it, I know you and I both covered Olympics, and Dara Torres, I always remember this.
Love that woman.
Love her too. Spent a lot of time with her. I know you did too.
Love
the Olympics in Rio, where she came in, I think it was the difference between, if I'm correct, the bronze and the silver. I don't think it was the silver and the gold, but maybe it was. She was within 1/100th of a second from the next medal. Try to get your head around what 1/100th of a second is. But some of these world-class athletes are that incredible at what they do that the difference between them and winning gold or winning a championship is that razor thin. That is a very rare and specific example, but that just gives you an idea why people, because you think, really? Come on, for like a second, you're going to risk being disqualified. You're going to risk being called a cheater. Yes, because if you don't get caught and you win, then you probably tell yourself it was worth it. Because if I didn't do it, someone else is doing it. That's the problem, and that's how it was explained, because look, the organizers made this point. I know it's only a little thing, but you have to draw the line. If you allow it to happen sometimes, or you allow certain riders to do one little thing, it's not fair. And if you allow a little, then the riders are going to take more. It's just, you have to create a line, you have to create a boundary, and then you have to stick to it, even if it's uncomfortable. And my God, I would think these inspections are uncomfortable. There's no other way to put it. This is awkward. This is uncomfortable.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out on the next one. It's just the rush kind of job. And again, bro, they've been preparing for this for a long, long time. You could even argue most of their lives. They've got routines. That's the other thing we see about athletes. They hate getting out of any moment of routine on game day, leading up to game day. And now they've been doing this for several days. And I got to be there 10 minutes early. Bro, the 10 minutes? We've heard so many football players complain about playing in the Super Bowl because the halftime show is longer and it takes more time than what they're used to in their regular games. It throws them. Rose, these things matter.
That is true.
That
I hadn't
10
thought
minutes?
about that. And the 10 minutes of feeling stress, right? You're in that tent.
Yes, violated.
Yes, before you're about to compete in the biggest event of your cycling life. And now you got someone potentially feeling you up, asking you questions, questioning your integrity, questioning whether or not you're playing by the rules. And even if you are and you have nothing to hide, it might still put you off a little bit. It might be upsetting or off-putting that you're having to go through this. Maybe you feel a bit like happy, like yes, we're going to catch anybody who isn't cheated. But the point being, it could put you in a different mindset, having gone through that and not ever having to deal with. I'm sure they have inspections and I'm sure they've been checked before, but just to know that this is going to be added, this is something that's now being announced, and everyone was let know, I think, within a few hours before this all was taking place. But yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought about the mental game that could play. It could throw you off as an elite athlete. It all matters.
Your schedule cannot be messed with. Anything that is off in that routine, a different piece of equipment, something breaks, got out there a little later, we had a delay. They hate that stuff.
And I'm even thinking, like, as a woman just who does, again, wear a lot of sports bras and wears a lot of padded sports bras for my own comfort. And there is a physical comfort and a mental comfort to it. And to know that whatever I have that's been working for me, I now have to change or do something different than what I want to, that is upsetting. Like, that would actually upset me. And I'm sorry, but breasts are really personal. There's something about, it's just such a personal feminine part of who you are, and I don't know, there's just something that you feel even more sensitive about in some ways. And I just feel like it'll be interesting to see the reaction from and by the women who are competing.
You know, that's that point about women's breasts. You all take ownership, or maybe see if you agree with that, ownership of that part of your body, more so. It seems like the whole country often debates your reproductive organ, right? Everybody's talking about that, but a woman's breasts, it's, I don't know, it seems to your point.
They're sexual, they're maternal, they're part of your identity. And maybe I feel more connected to it just because of my breast cancer situation, but it's like, it's just a part of what makes you a woman. I guess.
And they're exposed even if they're covered all the time. You lead with them. It's the first thing that walks in the room.
Right.
When a woman enters.
And a lot of times it's the first place every man's eye goes to if you have a certain level of, if you've been blessed, I should say, or cursed, however you want to look at it.
No, you can't even. I cannot watch women's cycling ever now. They've lost
You're
me.
You're going to be looking like.
They've lost. Oh, no. I won't be. I will not be watching women's cycling ever. In the Olympics, nothing.
That's not true.
But
you watch every sporting event possible on television.
I don't. That's not fair.
It's not unfair.
There is a cricket tournament this weekend. No, you brought this to my attention, the story, and you know what? If we'd have just hopped on and said there was a major doping scandal at the Tour de France, people would go, what the hell? The way you brought it to me, it adds a different element, really, Robes, to what this story is and what this says about and what we are willing to do when it comes to violating women in that. And look, we're saying it this way. Maybe it's not a violation. Maybe they're handling this, Robes, in the best, most professional and wonderful of manners, and nobody feels violated. Rules are rules, and we get all that. Oof. But it was a headline, and it was a shocker. One option, could they? Because they did this in swimming, right? They eliminated certain suits. Could they give the women options? Like, these are the ones you can pick from to wear, and these are going to be issued by our commission kind of thing.
I think that would alleviate a lot of it, but then you just also have to make sure they haven't been altered in any way. That's the key.
So you have to get dressed on spot, right? Here, and get it handed to you.
Yeah, but how could you... I don't even know how you could do that, because you can't say, show me what your boobs actually look like, and now let me see what you look like in that sports bra. Because
but Rose, don't some women want more padding just walking up and down the street than others?
I do. Yes, a lot
but
of
different
people
levels
do.
of thickness, and
because you're dealing with, like, when you think about it, like running is an extreme example, but I'm not a big cyclist, but I still imagine there's jostling. Different women need different levels of support.
Exactly.
That's the issue. So I don't know. I don't know how they figure it out. I don't know how they work it out. I guess it makes sense, something I never considered before, but there's also there is a level of comfort that may just have to be sacrificed in order to make sure you adhere to the rules.
All right. Well, Tour de France going on for women right now. Won't be watching. Not at all. I'll wait till they show me the before and after pictures of the winner at the end, and she gets accused of something, right? Isn't this going to dog folks? They say, yeah, but what about the first 3 stages? You didn't check her then. Is this going to be what this is?
They're probably trying to avoid that, I guess, and that's why they're making the change midway through, or at least a little bit before halfway through. They're done with these 9 stages. Again, stage 4 on this day, they've made this decision. We'll see if there are any more headlines coming out of the women's Tour de France.
Even that, for whatever reason, Robes, I don't know why we're talking about breasts and then stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4.
That is weird.
It's just weird, isn't it?
I had not even thought about it until now, but let's just stick with stage 9 when it's all over, because that is meaningless to me.
All right, folks. We appreciate you, Robes. Thank you for bringing this one to my attention. All right, folks. Always appreciate you. We'll see you soon.